Hello, welcome to the Common Law Court. Today is the 12th of February 2020. Today hopefully this will be a shorter video, but we've got 4 different subjects to cover today. What we'd like to do is get this video up and then we'll have a second one up later on, which will be dealing solely with the void orders and information to let you know what the current state of play is. But before we proceed, as I said, we've got 4 different issues we'd like to cover today. First of all, we'll start off with passing on condolences to the family of Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas, why? Well, certainly because Kirk Douglas had passed away at 103, having a long distinguished career within the film industry. But the reason it's been highlighted is that one of the most famous films that Kirk Douglas did, was in relation to the film Spartacus, which highlighted a slave rebellion in the Roman Empire. Now, before we proceed, what I'd like to do is show you probably the most famous scene from the film just now. So if you have a look at that and come back to you, we'll discuss this further.
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
Well, there you go. I'm Spartacus. Apt? Yes, it is apt, because the same rules still apply to the Common Law Court. Who is the Common Law Court? Well, I am the Common Law Court. You are the Common Law Court, or together we are the Common Law Court. The film went on to highlight what had happened with the slave rebellion during the Roman Empire here, and it culminated in the execution of the slaves, which is not a great ending. But if we go to the end of the film just now, we're going to show you a second clip when the 2 remaining slaves, Spartacus and another slave played by Tony Curtis, they were sitting there about to be executed, and Tony Curtis had turned to Spartacus to ask him if it had been worthwhile.
Just one man says, no, I won't. Rome begins to fear. We were tens of thousands who said no.
Well, there you go. The question was it worthwhile? Spartacus turned round and said, when one individual speaks up and says no, the Roman Empire quakes. They had thousands of people standing together. Which leads us on to the next issue. The next issue in relation to the Common Law Court, we'd like to point out that not only do we stand together, but we do have thousands. We have had, in addition to the countries listed for the Common Law Court, and again, you can find this on the website under the documentation heading in the last category website. But what we'll do is we're going to put up a map of the world just now, just to show you. Now, the map in front of you shows the world, and the coloured countries, which are in green, is the countries that have had people sign up to the Common Law Court by way of recording their births. As you can see from the map, we actually have a substantial section within the world, which is quite interesting because unlike any empires previously within the world, these people are all standing together because of the corruption within their existing countries just now, and they're hoping to stand together to improve their situation. Now, by standing together, this is done peaceably. It's not done through violence, and they're hoping to change the failings within the existing system. So when we actually stand together, not one but thousands stand together, and not one but 89 different countries so far, this will make a difference. What we'd like to do now is give you a latest update regarding David Noakes and Linda Thayer. As far as we're aware, and things are difficult just now given the situation, but Linda Thayer is still in the French prison. As far as I'm aware, I think that she was actually hospitalised for 10 days because she'd had a turn, and I think she had to be revived as well. I'm not quite sure what happened, but her health is not great and she's been returned to prison. As far as I'm aware, they're restricting visitors, so she's not allowed any visitors, and I think they're withholding her mail as well. So we're hoping to do something to get her out sooner rather than later, and we're hoping with the people that are using the void orders to put pressure on the government. So we'll let you know when there's more information available. But through pressure we will actually be able to deal with this shortly, so fingers crossed, hopefully this will continue. We're going to cover the void issue later on in a second video later on today, but the facility exists for everyone to use. If you have any order against you, whether it's statutory, in the statutory court, whether it's civil or criminal, it doesn't matter. You have the ability to void the decision against you by using the paperwork which is available on the Common Law Court site. Please feel free to do so and share this information. The more the merrier. In relation to the last issue today on this video, what we'd like to do is we'd like to have a close look at the existing system. That would be the statutory system, and it would be the so-called courts, which are not really courts, they're places of business, bearing in mind they operate as companies for profit and not for justice. What we're going to do is we're going to ask you a question. We'll make this a bit more interesting. Rather than me turning around and telling you this is what's happening with the Common Law Court, we'll highlight what's happening in the existing places of business, or the statutory courts. Now, if we actually look at what they do just now, we showed, I think one of the most recent videos we did, we showed what they were doing in relation to criminal coercion. They're using the legal fiction against you, and they're prosecuting you using criminal coercion and punishing you accordingly. Now, they can't do that because that in itself is a crime, but this is what they do. Now, if you dare to stand up and question a judge, if you dare take them on, what they're doing is they're then coming out with comments about your mental stability, even stating that they wish to have you medically examined and assessed for your mental capacity, because what they will then do is try to have you sectioned. I thought interesting. So we spoke to a few people just now, and during the discussions we actually thought about it. It's quite interesting. But bearing in mind, if this is what they're doing just now, we'll have a look at it from the other side. Now, if you have a case before one of their judges or magistrates, how does that pan out? Well, literally what happens is that the individuals will be called to appear before the judge or the magistrate, and they'll be asked to identify themselves. So, if we have a look at the situation with the judge will turn around and ask you to identify with the legal fiction. Now, many people then turn around and state that they're a living man. In fact, this conversation came up earlier on this week, and we had an individual appearing in Portsmouth Court whereby he presented himself to the judge and stated that he was a living man. The judge had then tried to get him to consent, or obviously to submit a plea, enter a plea, which he refused to do. The judge said he would enter on his behalf, which he objected to and said he couldn't do that. They then tried to get joinder within the court, and this individual turned round to the judge and stated that he wasn't happy and he wanted to question the mental ability or the status of the judge in question. Bearing in mind the judge was having a conversation with this individual, and they were 10, maybe 15 foot away. So they're having a conversation to debate these various points, and the individual had turned to the judge and said, well, I'm a bit concerned about your mental well-being, because if you're standing having a conversation with someone just now to discuss these issues, and you cannot determine whether or not it's a living man in front of you, there has to be something wrong with you mentally. So therefore, he says, I would require you to be assessed, because if you cannot determine it's a living man in front of you and you're having a conversation, you should not be fit to sit on the bench if you cannot determine this. Now, I don't think that went down well, because the judge wasn't too amused, but he didn't say anything. Now, what you can do is turn around and say, well, wait a minute, is the judge or the magistrate, are they actually incompetent if they cannot assess someone in front of them? Well, I would give them the benefit of the doubt and say surely they must be able to work out that who they're speaking to is in fact a living man or woman, simply by the fact that they're speaking to them. But in doing so, the judge is either incompetent because he cannot determine that, in which case he shouldn't be there, or I don't think they are incompetent. They think they know that they're dealing with a living man in front of them, which makes it 10 times worse. Because if that is the case, what the judges are then doing is turning round and refusing to accept a living man in front of them by stating that they're not present, and in doing so, they're committing a criminal offence through criminal coercion, which we've highlighted before. So that's what it boils down to. So if we turn round to you and ask you, what do you think about it? If a judge sits on the bench and the judge speaks to you and cannot determine whether you're a living man or woman, should they be sitting on the bench? Are they fit to sit on the bench? And are they mentally stable to sit on the bench and determine anything against you or deal with the issue? If you believe that that's not the case, they should be mentally assessed. If that's not the case, and they know that you're a living man or woman, well then to take it further, when they actually refuse to accept your position and they continue, they are committing a criminal crime using criminal coercion, in which case they should be removed immediately and they should be prosecuted within their own system. The fact that this is not done confirms that the existing system we have through the statutory system is not run for justice. It's actually run for profit. They couldn't care less whether you're a man or a woman. They run their system for profit, and it's a place of business. So I thought you'd like that one. It's quite interesting just to have a look at the system and to think about how they work. It's an unusual approach to take. So bear with us. Obviously, we will be covering more of this in the coming weeks, but I thought that one was quite worth mentioning just now, just to see what you thought about it. What we'd like to do is we'd like to get everyone sharing this information. So please, if you're watching this just now, two things to do. Subscribe first of all on the YouTube channel, because in doing so you'll get various posts, the new videos, you'll get information regarding latest posts, which will keep you up to date with things. And again, in doing so, it will also help to increase the numbers and share this. Please also share it through social media to try and get as much as possible. And again, remember that the Common Law Court is developing just now, and we're at the stage where we have now 89 countries signed up to the Common Law Court. It is increasing rapidly, and the latest Common Law Courts to be convened were in the Republic of Ireland and Estonia. We're hoping to have the paperwork up within the next week regarding the findings. I believe that both were successful, and we're also hoping to have an international link up, because we're going to join up different countries on the website and allow them to have their independent pages through the site. So that's something we'll look forward to as well. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully you enjoy this. Please you view the second video we're putting out later on today. It's in relation to the void orders and the latest situation there, and we may put up an interesting video later on today in relation to the issue of the coronavirus and 5G, which is very interesting. This video, I believe, has been put up on social media before, and when it goes up, it's taken down very quickly afterwards. So we're going to put it up on the site and see how long it lasts. Okay, goodbye for just now, and hopefully you can join us later. Thank you.